I'm Armando Canales with Napa Auto Parts LMG Sales out of McAllen, Texas. We're here to help the school district here in Edinburgh with the sanitation systems. These units are going to be in the different elementary schools or secondary schools. And we're basically going to be going through each one of the steps just as far as assembling it, and then the use and a little bit on the maintenance on the gun. The items that come in here, you're going to see it does have a connector. The connector is real simple. It screws on to the back end. There is a secondary one. Comes. This will actually be to hold the spray gun. This is going to be to connect our hose, which is here. It's real simple. This is just no different than you have any of the air. It's a quick coupler. Our spray equipment, and we're using. This is going to be a simple spray gun. It's used, and it looks almost like a paint gun. It does have a different tip. It does have a different assembly in front, and it is designed to be able to spray a very fine mist that gives us coverage on the surfaces that we're trying to spray, especially when we're spraying a disinfectant. It's going to be different than a normal paint. As far as the connection, we're going to be connecting it. It's the same thing. It's just a quick coupler, hooks up, disconnects. We're going to be talking about the fluid nozzle. This right here is the fluid nozzle. Clockwise closes it, counterclockwise opens it. We did put a little mark on here just to show you, so we're going to open this up 2.5 turns. This part right here, that's 1 turn. That's going to be 2 turns, and that's going to be 2.5 turns. That's what the school district has opted to use. This is what we've actually, when we did testing, it took 10 minutes, which is the required time for effectiveness. This will actually give you enough fluid. Set with the system at 4.5, we should have more than enough pressure. Now, once you set this, easy maintenance. We have to make sure that we remember about this cap. Cap is very simple. It does not have it looks like a normal spray gun. It has a much finer system. This particular piece, we do have a spring. This particular spring, it doesn't matter what side, but we got to make sure do not lose this. This piece does not need to be removed. It can just be rinsed out. This is very important that you make sure that it is not lost. We have to replace it. This does have notches that it goes to. If you see those notches right there, they actually go, and it's going to be set this way. It actually falls into place. Don't worry if it's in the perfect place. As you're screwing this back on, you're going to feel it. As you're actually putting this, if you get an area where it starts to get tight, and you can see right here it's tight, turn this piece right here. You're going to hear a click. That piece right there, you see it still? Now that you've actually done it, it'll actually screw on. All you did is set it in the right place. As you turn it, it allows it to actually freely turn. It'll actually be set in the correct place. You don't have to worry about anything else. Now, this particular item, this right here, you have the normal spray, and what you're spraying is you're spraying a pattern that's going to be this wide. Now what you're actually you're spraying this particular way. If you take this one, turn it this way, now you've taken it, instead of taking it this way, you've actually turned it, now your pattern, so you're going up and down. If you take this and put it at an angle, you've gone from doing a wide turn, so you're going to have a cylinder pattern about this long. It can actually shoot, depending on how much fluid and air, between 6 to 8 feet out. If you've got corners, if you've got areas that you need to reach, that would be the perfect setting for these. Or you have a small area, you need to reduce the amount so you're not wasting material. You can actually take it, turn it there, and you're going to reduce into a small area, so you're now doing a small piece. You're not having to put extra chemical on there. Now, one thing, this particular piece, we have this, it does have fluid in here. What we want to do is it notches right here, and it notches in this area. This is a simple lever. This is the way it's going to close. If you see it, it's going to be thumb tight. It's just going to be a little push. There is no sense in trying to push this all. It's the only thing it's going to do. If you push it all the way here, it'll break it. We do have one area. This is a pressure pot. On this one here, this is a one-way valve that allows air pressure to stay into the system. If you're going to have, for whatever reason, you have it and it still has air being circulated into it, before you open it, you must open this little valve right here. This little valve, it's simple. It does not need to be, it doesn't take much pressure. You can actually see it does one with easy turn. There is actually closed. That is to relieve the pressure so that when you're actually opening this up, you don't have that spray material all over the place. The simple use, and on this particular one, this is just, like I said, it's a simple one-way valve. It's going to allow pressure one way. It doesn't allow pressure going back. So that's just to make sure that we maintain pressure in this system. This is what helps it. The transfer efficiency on this material, you're putting between 90 to 95% of the material on the actual surface. What we were doing before, if you take a conventional spray guns were putting around 35%. If you go to an HVLP is about 65 at the best. If you've really managed to get one down, it's going to be 65 to 70. This one is actually putting to 90 and 95%. That's how much safer it is as far as using this. You're not having the overspray that's going to go everywhere, but you also have the bulk of this material is going on the surface that you're putting it. And if you can take a look at it, it is also very lightweight. You're just, as far as rinsing it, just plain water. Now, as far as this equipment, this is a turbine. This is where you're going to get your air from. What we're doing is that you're not going to be spraying with the 40 pounds, 35 pounds. Each one of these notches stands for about 1 pound of pressure. What we're going to be doing is, you see that, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to be setting it at about a 4.5 setting. That's about where we normally set it. You don't really need a lot of pressure unless you've got such a large area where you need to put a lot of product. That should be more than enough. As far as the connector, simple. There's a connection. Now, this right here, you do not have to put a lot of pressure when you turn it. You can actually take it. It's a very simple turn. This right here. The connection, like I had told you before, here we go. Now, 2.5 turns. There we go. The hose itself is going to be 30 feet, so you'll be able to stretch it and go into the different areas. The one thing that I would tell you on this one here, you've got a 30-foot hose, so you can take it with you. It's up to you which route you want to take it. When you're actually spraying, it's just a normal spray. You're not having to do anything. It does not look like it's spraying a lot of material, but I will show you in just a minute. It's a dry glove. So you can actually see, even though it's a fine mist, on that fine mist, it's actually giving us quite a bit of material. This is where the school district's going to choose. They're going to control this one here into what area they're going to do it. If you need a finer mist, you need just a little bit more air. And just to show you, how much wetter, and it was just a small adjustment. The way this is going to work for you, you're able to actually get any of this, whether it's this table or here. Now, one of the things that we find very important is that we're actually getting this, but we're actually getting the bottom of this chair. Same thing with this. We do have a surface. The surface up here is very important because this is where we normally work on. But we also have the surface that's underneath. This is a pressure pot, so you're actually going to be able to spray. This one here. Now, in this particular one, I'm going to show you on the box. It's easy to actually spray this material here, but to show you a little bit of what that pattern was, we can do it on this. This one. it does give you quite a bit of coverage. The opposite one was when you're actually taking, now the cylinder pattern. This is the one where I was telling you, you can actually be able to hit, you're going to be able to hit here, and you're going to be able to spray into those areas, but you're also going to spray my smaller area. If you need to hit small corners, you need to hit small areas. It's a simple adjustment right here. We're trying to do this, we don't need to do a lot. We can hit a small area. It'll limit the amount of material that you're using, that we're not wasting any extra material. You have control over what you need to do. On the effectiveness time, we're needing to make sure that this stays wet for 10 minutes. So this being wet for 10 minutes, these are about the right settings right here. What we have with, let me see. What we have is, we have an environment where we've got air conditioning, we have airflow. It does slow down how quickly it's going to dry. 2.5 turns right now is the perfect setting for it. Sitting there between 4.5 to 5 max will give you enough material on the tables to be able to disinfect. It takes about 10 minutes for it to dry, which is what they say is going to be the allowed time. Now, if we need to do this in a different environment where we're going outside, we've got 100+ degree weather outside, we may have to make some adjustments or make sure that we have enough material on there to stay wet for the 10 minutes. That's the time of effectiveness that Triad is actually asking the school districts to use. The material itself with the spray gun, it is up to you and to how much you need. Whether the settings are set for you, for indoors, outside would be the only places that you really would change them. As far as putting material, just so that you can see a simple, I'm only changing this a quarter of a turn so that you can see how much extra material we're going to spray on here. That's just a quarter of a turn. Dialing it back. Dialing it back even more. That's how fine. It all depends on what you're needing. This is where it's going to be set for the school district at 2.5 turns. It gives you about the finest coverage. The only reason it would be is that somebody would need to actually put more in an area because it's drying too quick. Other than that, it won't need it. Whenever you do increase some of the fluid, you need to remember you may also need to increase some of the air so that you can make sure that it's atomized enough. If you take a look at it and you look at the spray, it's fine. If we reduce this where we do not have enough air, you're going to take it and it's going to splatter. We need to make sure we maintain the right amount of air. If we increase how much fluid, we've got to increase some of the air. They're going to go together. Now, as far as maintenance, here's your on and off button. As far as maintenance on this, the material is going to be used with water. As far as cleaning it, all you have to do is put water into it. You don't have to do it. You're not going to have to scrub it. You're just going to have to run it through. If you want to leave some of the water in there, shoot it out with a spray gun, that's not a problem. It'll spray it. If you just want to rinse it, just remember, take this off. You don't want to leave it gummed up. You do not want to leave this from one day to the next where it has not been cleaned. It'll start getting gummy. All chemical leaves a residue. That residue is actually going to be something that you end up with a film. Over time, it gets to a point where this is not sprayed properly. The material itself, on this one here, simple water, do not have to use anything. You can use a normal sink. You can rinse it out. That's all you need to do with it. Thank you again. My name is Armando Canales. Any questions, please let us know at Napa Auto Parts in McAllen, Texas.